Chelsea finished the 23-24 season in fantastic form, but in Chelsea fashion, they sacked Mauricio Pochettino and have taken a risk on Enzo Maresca. The young manager, who has just taken the championship by storm with Leicester, has been hired as the brand new Chelsea head coach as they look to try and regain Champions League spots and taking trophies back to Stamford Bridge. So today, we are rebuilding Chelsea in full realism with 3 Enzo Maresca tactics as we look to take Chelsea back to the top. Now, as you can see on screen, we have got 3 Chelsea tactics all built already based on the Enzo Maresca system. We have a standard 4-3-3, but it has inverted wingbacks and inverted fullbacks to make it more of the 3-2-2-2-1 system that Pep Guardiola likes to play. Enzo Maresca used to be his assistant coach, so he is going to play a very similar style, and he has done at Leicester, and it's worked quite well. Will it work at Chelsea? I'm not so sure. We've got 3 tactics which all sort of do a very similar thing. One slightly more attacking and one more defensive with a traditional back 4. But as we go through this season, as we sort of progress with Chelsea, we'll also be progressing the tactic to make it better and to suit the Chelsea team more. So we'll do a full tactic breakdown right at the very end. But so far, a massive fan of this Chelsea side. I think we're looking quite good. They obviously finished the season very well in real life. It has got an up-to-date schedule here. 5 wins in a row to finish off the season. And obviously one of the coldest players in the world. Today's thumbnail star Cole Palmer in midfield here. Probably rotating with Nkunku as they swap through these Mazzala roles, and in the attacking for system, again, probably very similar as that's gone wrong, as they sort of rotate out of here as well with Nkunku and Palmer in the Mazzalas and the inside forwards. But overall, he's going to be our stand-up performer. Nkunku hopefully can stay fit this year. Sterling off the left-hand side as well. Caicedo and Fernandes in midfield are going to be good enough, of course. Ben Chilwell as an inverted fullback on defend actually suits it very well. A bit like Luke Shaw, has that bit of a stockier build, some great pace to him, and very good defensively. Centre-backs wise, Badiashile, Fofana, always going to be good for us, and we have Levi Colville, Axel Disasi, and obviously someone else coming in as well, because Chelsea have signed Tosin Adebayo in real life, so we're going to try and make that a permanent fixture here as well as a realistic signing. I am looking for a brand new goalkeeper to come in and probably replace Petrovic. I think he done well at the end of this current season, but I do think someone better is needed, and of course a striker to come in and put the ball in the back of the net, because we know Nick Jackson's a bit of a meme. He's not great at that one. I'm also looking for a midfielder as well if we have the money, because so far the board have given us absolutely nothing to spend, which isn't helpful and isn't the Chelsea way at all. We have got players to sell. Thiago Silva obviously leaving on a free contract. Someone like Dasha Fofana, who has just done well over at Burnley, will be leaving. Lukaku, if we can sell him when he comes back. Conor Gallagher, heavily rumoured to leave the club as well. Armando Broja. Ian Maatsen, after getting to the final with Borussia Dortmund, I'm sure is either going to go back there or will be sold. Robert Sanchez, Hakim Ziyech, Kepa Arrizabalaga, Marc Cucurella. The squad here is just so big. It's absolutely massive. So we're going to have to do some serious sales to bring some players in. So let's go through and see what we've done. Right, kicking things off then with the outgoings. We're going to quick fire through all of these. Lukaku has left the club to Real Madrid for 35 million. Conor Gallagher leaves and goes to Saudi of all places for 30 million on 675 grand a week. Trevor Chalobah also heads over to Saudi, but he's on 825k a week, and we got 25 million for him. Ian Maatsen goes back to Germany, this time to RB Leipzig, and again another 20 million pounds raised. And a few other decent sales in there as well, like Marc Cucurella, Robert Sanchez, Armando Broja, Datro Fofana, Amari Hutchinson, I think he will leave as well. Overall amounting to 186 million pounds to spend. So we have got a lot of cash to spend, but who are we going to bring in? Number 1, the brand new goalkeeper is 23-year-old Georgian. Signed from Valencia, it is Georgi Mamadashvili. This guy is a fantastic young keeper, and I think it's someone that Chelsea are certainly going to be looking at in real life as well. He's extremely consistent. He likes big matches. Obviously, incredibly experienced at just 23 years of age. Has had, obviously, probably now 2 full seasons as Valencia's number 1. A little bit of a bug with FM, the fact we're starting in 2024 there. But 2 full seasons as a top-flight Spanish goalkeeper, and obviously over in Georgia as well, but is known to be one of the hottest prospect goalkeepers, and I think is a absolute great shout if Chelsea go for him. And our striking option is none other than Victor Gyökeres. I was tempted by Osimhen, but apparently they're going to give that one a miss. I was tempted by Sesko, but apparently that is who Arsenal are going for. So I think the next available player that I think Chelsea will look at is Victor Gyökeres. Now, this guy obviously has absolutely smashed it over at Sporting this season, got them back the title, and has been simply unbelievable, like 26 goals in the league. Obviously, we know how good he is from his time at Coventry, which of course is a different standard of football, but the Championship is not an easy league. 21 goals, 17 goals, and as mentioned, this season about 26 goals as well. And for just £40 million, I think is a fantastic signing, and someone Chelsea again will certainly be looking at in real life. Just two more signings then, and it's this one, Tosin Adebayo, which has been confirmed in real life on a free transfer. Well, the most annoying thing is he signed a brand new contract at Fulham, so I had to pay 45 million to get him into Chelsea. So ignore the finance side of things, but we had to bring him in. It's happened in real life, and sadly on FM, I haven't got the editor installed, so I can't just make him a Chelsea player. So we had to spend 45 million pounds, which is a bit annoying, but it doesn't really matter because I managed to get my last target as well. Tosin, a very good centre-back over at Fulham. Is he ready for the start with Chelsea? I'm not entirely sure. I know my club, Manchester United, was looking at him. Newcastle were looking at him. I think he's much better rated in real life than he is on Football Manager, but hopefully he can still make the step up to Chelsea. And my final signing is Ebere Eze, obviously someone that has played in London his whole career, is potentially looking at upgrading from Crystal Palace, and for £40 million, we've managed to get it over the line. I think he adds a very good attacking influence into the midfield, because you've got Enzo, you've got Caicedo, you've got obviously Palmer and Nkunku rotating that wing role and that role, but bar that, there's no one there to play either off the left, the right, or in the middle as a Mezzala, and I think Eze gives you that exactly, and obviously Premier League experience, simply fantastic. I was tempted to bring in his old mate Elise as well, as he is heavily linked to Chelsea, but I decided against it. I decided for Eze because we've signed Elise a lot recently. I think there's probably a 33% chance for Chelsea, Liverpool and Manchester United, so I went with his mate Eze instead. So again, I think there's a decent chance it does go ahead and happen. Now, in terms of the 4-3-3 tactic, we have Mamardashvili in goal, Reece James, Fofana, Badiashile, Chilwell, Caicedo, Fernandes, Palmer, Nkunku, Sterling and Victor Gyökeres up front. In the backups, Petrovic, Gusto, Adebayo, Disasi, Levi Colville as that inverted fullback backup, I think is fantastic. Romeo Lavia backing up Caicedo with Eze and Leslie Ogawuchu in midfield, with Noni Madueke, Mikhailo Mudryk, and of course keeping Nicholas Jackson here at the club. In terms of the Premier League, we are predicted to finish in 6th place. So top 4 is the goal. We are not looking to come 6th. We want to get back into Champions League football. One other thing I have got to mention, as it was simply impossible for me to make Chelsea play in the Europa Conference League. I had to have a simulation where Manchester United won the FA Cup, where 2 German teams got to the final, German teams got to past the semi-finals and England teams didn't in the Champions League, so the coefficient rankings worked correctly. It shows you quite how ridiculous it is in real life that it happened. Simply impossible. I tried for about 2 hours to make it the case. So we are competing in the Europa League this year. It's not the end of the world. FA Cup and Carabao Cup as well. I want 1, maybe 2 trophies this season out of these 3 and securing top 4 football. Luckily for us though, our start to the Premier League season is tough. We have Spurs at home, Fulham away from home, City at home and Brentford away from home to finish off August. So let's see how we kick off the 24-25 campaign. Now this first game against Spurs was always going to be difficult. A brand new system, a brand new way of playing, and in just 8 minutes, Romero got them into 1-0 leaders. But this is where we are first of all going to see the style of play. Straight away there, a fantastic ball into Cole Palmer, getting up close to Victor Gyökeres, and Gyökeres finishes it. And then here, the high press system, and Nkunku intercepts, Gyökeres tees it around the corner, and then Nkunku pokes it home for 2-1. And a great first game, showing that we were dominant with 13 shots to Spurs' 4, 50-50 on possession, and coming away with the 3 points. And we followed that up with an emphatic 4-1 victory away from home against Fulham as well. A brace from Raheem Sterling and a brace for Victor Gyökeres, who in his first 2 games has got 3 goals. But up next was Manchester City, a real test to see how good these tactics of Pep's prodigy are going to pay off. Well, in just the 6th minute, Phil Foden and Victor Gyökeres got injured together. I don't understand what has just happened. Both of them go down after a 2-footed challenge from Nkunku. I mean, what on earth has happened? They both go off injured due to that outrageous challenge. And it then took until the 53rd minute for Manchester City to grab a 1-goal lead thanks to a header from Erling Haaland. But lucky for us, we had a bagsman of our own. Obviously, Gyökeres was off, so we're looking to our star Frenchman, Christopher Nkunku, who drove through the middle and made the game 1-1. And that's the same way we finished off the month as well, with a 1-1 draw away from home against Brentford, which again, I'm not too disappointed with. 60% possession, showing we're getting used to playing these style of play. 8 shots to their 3, simply dominant. An 88th minute goal from Sterling, securing the point and leaving us in the Premier Division in top 4. 2 points off the top of the table already, but that's fair enough. We did get a draw against Manchester City. Gyökeres and Raheem Sterling sitting top of the top goal scorers charts as well. It is lovely, with Cole Palmer already getting 3 assists in that creative Metzala role. Can we get him double-figure goals and assists yet again? Right now, I'm going to fly through the next couple of months. We've got the whole of September and October as we kick off our Europa League campaign, kick off the Carabao Cup, and get deep into the Premier League season. But of course, there was no more outgoings, there was no more incomings for the rest of the month, so we fly straight into the games and a 3-0 victory against Southampton and a brace from Benoit Badiashile. Before a couple of games which didn't quite go to plan. Obviously, with Victor Gyökeres being injured for a few weeks, we had to go to Nkunku up front, and goals were difficult to come by. This game, 19 shots, 9 on target, 62% possession, but a 3-1 loss. Followed up by a 0-0 draw here against Bournemouth. And just the 1-goal victory against top 4 contenders, Aston Villa, thanks to a goal from Malo Gusto. And the poor goal scoring simply carried on. A 1-0 against Ipswich is a lucky 1-0 win thanks to a goal from Christopher Nkunku. And a 1-0 draw against Crystal Palace. It seems like ever since that injury to Victor Gyökeres, the goals haven't happened. And in this game, even got himself sent off and was saved by a 90th minute goal from Christopher Nkunku, which leaves us in the Premier League down in 6th place. Lots of points dropped. 1 point away from top 4 still, but a whole host away from the top of the table. And it's West Ham that are battling Manchester City. I can't quite believe it. They've even kept David Moyes in charge and things are going well. But for us, things aren't going great. And is it the massive increase in games played thanks to the Europa League? Where here, the goal-scoring exploits aren't exactly difficult to come by. A massive victory here against Braga, starting off with Noni Madueke off that left-hand side, scoring a goal, and you saw the beautiful 2-back build-up to kick things off. Cole Palmer then makes it 2-0 from distance for Madueke, finds the ball to the edge of the box. Chilwell drives forward from that inverted full-back role, lovely bit of tiki-taka play, and Nicholas Jackson fires past Mateus, and a 4th goal coming in hot as well as Eze finds Fofana. Fofana drives into the middle, a backstick cross, and Madueke is there for 4. Then we drew against Dynamo Zagreb, 1-0 thanks to a goal from Romeo Lavia. And then absolutely battered Hibernian thanks to 5 goals, 2 from Madrid, a goal from Badiashile, a goal from Caicedo, and Christopher Nkunku keeping up that goal-scoring form. He has got 6 goals and 5 assists so far in just 10 games, and certainly shows that if Chelsea can keep Nkunku fit in real life, he will be a star performer. He is absolutely fantastic. We know that from his time at Leipzig. It's just a case of him keeping clear of them injuries. And well, luckily for us, we also had Victor Gyökeres as well as he faced up against Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce, a 5-2 victory and a hat-trick for Gyökeres. Before a final 0-0 draw against Atalanta. But the league phase is certainly going well in the Europa League. We are in the top 3, 5 games played, 3-1 and 2 draws. Things are going well and it does look like we'll be going through straight in to the round of 16. And in terms of the Carabao Cup as well, after beating Rotherham in the 3rd round, we faced up against Spurs in the 4th, which is obviously a very difficult time. We go 1-0 down, but similarly to the first game of the season, we are going to do some great build-up play before a long-range effort from Caicedo makes things 1-1. Enzo then driving down that right-hand side as that Metzala finds Lavia, a great ball into Raheem Sterling to break the back line, and he makes it 2-1. And we are also going to grab a 3rd. Cole Palmer driving into the box, cuts it back. Levi Colville, Moises Caicedo to grab his 2nd of the game. We are through into the 5th round of the Carabao Cup, and it's looking like a trophy we can certainly win this season. And with the Premier League is going to be much more difficult to win, especially if we can only beat newly promoted side Leicester better thanks to a 92nd minute Berriese goal. And what was coming up was a game against Liverpool, which was always going to be tough. Especially as at this point, our star man Victor Gyökeres was still suspended from that straight red card, but Nicholas Jackson had found his shooting boots and scored a screamer to make things 1-0 before Liverpool come back with 1-0 literally in the 32nd minute. And in the 32nd minute and 30th second, straight from kickoff, a ball over the top, Diogo Jota drives through, Chilwell challenges, it falls to Gakpo, and it goes 2-1 to Liverpool. But we did not give up and we carried on attacking. And Fofana down the right-hand side finds the ball in. And Nicholas Jackson, when he's got his scoring boots, he grabs a second of the game. And away from home at Anfield, we had more shots, more on target, more XG, just a tiny bit less possession. So a very impressive 2-2 draw. And we followed that up with a fairly respectable 1-1 draw against Newcastle, as well a goal again from Christopher Nkunku, keeping us, on firing form. And in terms of the Premier League, it keeps us again in touch with the top four. Time for December vote, and we all know the chaos of this month. Speaking of chaos, a game with Enzo Maresca's tactics against Roberto De Zerbi. Two tactics that are fast, aggressive, and was all going to be about a team that could grab the first goal, and that was ourselves with Victor Gyökeres, and from there we were absolutely dominant. A second coming in from Badiashile, a free-kick masterclass from Nkunku to make it 3-0. They're then going to try and break out from the back, but that high press system from Maresca proving dividends yet again. Nkunku finds the top corner past Jason Steele for 4-0, and there's even going to be a fifth. Caicedo to the edge of the box, Reece James from that inverted wing-back position finds Nkunku, and a 5-0 victory. But we couldn't spread them goals over the next few games. We drew 0-0 to Everton, 0-0 against Arsenal, a nervy 1-0 victory in the 82nd minute against Forest, before getting simply destroyed against Manchester United, a 4-0 loss. I didn't rig it, I promise. And luckily we finished the month off with a convincing 2-1 victory against Fulham. Absolutely dominant in shots, a 3.15 XG. But finding the back of the net is proving to be a little bit difficult. And this is the sort of time where I think we're settled into our tactics and it's time to make a few changes to them and make them the best they can be. So obviously we had this system to kick things off with a centre forward up front, which we have now changed into an advanced forward and made him slightly more aggressive to see if he can stretch the pitch a bit more rather than linking up play, because Gyökeres has got just 7 goals in 16 games. In terms of the attacking system, we haven't changed a single thing because it's actually performing very well in the games that we are going for a big lead. But in terms of defensive, I think we were still a little bit too aggressive. So I tweaked it from a Mazzala to an advanced playmaker, a wing-back on the left to a full-back on the left to still keep that sort of staggered approach with the 3 defensive players and the 1 slightly more going forward of Reece James, but just bringing that Mazzala as well to a playmaker, keeping the game in the middle of the park and dropping it from positive down into balance is going to massively help in the big games against big teams away from home. You're going to see some fantastic results going forward. And obviously, these 3 tactics are available for the legends over on Patreon. The link is down below, and trust me, by the end of this season, you are not going to want to miss out on these tactics. They are absolutely fantastic, and this rebuild file as well. For anyone that wants to pick up from our point where we finished off with Chelsea, hopefully in Champions League football, you can do that all in the Patreon down below. Trust me, this save file is absolutely fantastic, and these 3 tactics are about to progress into being some of the best on the game. A massive thank you to the legends that have run down the screen. It's just £5 a month and you can help support your boy out. Let's get in though to showing you how good they are going to be and the month of February. Is there going to be any transfers though before that? Before we do show you the 2 transfers we have made, it's time to show you the Carabao Cup. An absolute screamer there. A long shot from Yuri Tillemans, taking a deflection off Watkins to make Villa 1-0 leaders. Another very difficult time for Nkunku, finds an unbelievable ball through into Mudryk, showing that sort of midfield position is really working for him. Badiashile then finds the ball to Sterling, a reverse pass into Nkunku and a long range effort in off the post, making it 2-1. But Aston Villa bounced back. A balling from Digne, going to get cleared to Ramsey, back to Digne, back to Ramsey, a ball into Buendia, and it's 2-2, and it's straight to penalties. And Yuri Tillemans misses the first one, and Mamardashvili steps up to be the hero. Gyökeres scores the second, before Duran scores for Villa, making it 1-1. All the pressure on Nkunku, he makes it 2-1, and if they were to miss this, it would be an absolute calamity, so they didn't. And we Well, we did. Iberia's penalty saved by the penalty master himself, Emi Martinez. Ramsey scores to make it back on level terms, and Reece James, well, now gets it back on level terms. Nedeljkovic scores to put it past Mamardashvili. Nick Jackson puts it past Martinez. Chambers steps up. Mamardashvili saves, and Chelsea win the penalty shootout with the last penalty being scored by Levi Colville in a 2-2 game, 5-4 on penalties. We are going to the semi-finals. And this was going to be played up against Manchester United. So we've had Spurs, we've had Villa, and now we've got United. What a great goal there from Nicholas Jackson to make things 1-0 before Bruno Fernandes finds Marcus Rashford to find Casemiro to find an absolute screamer in the top corner to make it 1-1. Eze with the corner whips it in, and a own goal from Ayet Bundier makes it 2-1. Gusto then finds Madueke to find Gusto again. Backstick header, Cole Palmer makes it 3-1. And we take a dominating lead heading into the second leg with a 4-1 victory thanks to a volley from Nkunku. And while we did lose this game 3-1, it was never actually that close because it was a 94th minute goal from Serhal Gorashi, and we still had a 1-goal lead. So it was the Carabao Cup final coming up shortly for Chelsea. But first of all, the signings we've made and how the Premier League season is getting on. Well, the Premier League actually started quite poorly in January with a 2-0 loss to Spurs, and it was after this game that we actually tweaked to going into sort of being a better away from home side with our defensive tactic. But this is the game that changed our mind. You can still see in the bottom right how the tactic is being played. Goals from Kulusevski and Richarlison, and we were absolutely dominated. And this is where we changed the tactic up. Away from home against Manchester City, now the fullback, the wing-back, slightly more a counter-attacking system. A great run from Gyökeres finding Nkunku to make it 1-0 at the City of Manchester Stadium. For Lavia finds a great ball from Madueke to find Enzo, and a 2-0 victory away from home against Manchester City. Meant to be a little more counter-attacking. We did have less possession, but more shots, more on target, and Maresca outclasses Pep. And then we continued to strengthen the side because there was a couple of bargains on the market. Number one being Andre Frank Zambo Anguissa from Napoli, a 29-year-old Cameroonian central midfielder signed for a bargain price of £17 million. And he adds that sort of stronger, steely midfield into there with the likes of Eze, Enzo, Palmer and Caicedo. There's no big, strong DM/defensive midfielder in there, and Zambo Anguissa gives us that in abundance. And finally, a striker that knows how to put the ball in the back of the net other than Victor Gyökeres is Youssef En-Nesyri, signed from Sevilla. Again, an absolute bargain. £16 million, two signings which seem like quite a smart, astute piece of business. This guy's consistent. He loves big matches. 14 finishing, 15 composure. Great off the ball work as well. So when we are playing in the centre forward role rather than the advanced forward, this guy is going to be absolutely fantastic. And they're the only two pieces of business we've done, and they massively helped us for the second half of this season. And you can see the instant impact En-Nesyri had as we managed to rest Victor Gyökeres and beat Brentford 3-0 at home. I know that was the final game of January in the league, and we were still in, well, 7th place it says, but we have got 2 games in hand on the top 4. We were to win them, we're up into 3rd, so still going very strong in the league. And then we jump into the FA Cup, and again we face up against Manchester United, this time in the 3rd round, and another Casemiro screamer from the edge of the box to make it 1-0 for United. And they're going to make it 2 as well. Wan-Bissaka and Mason Mount linking up for Anthony Martial. Somehow had his contract renewed and makes it 2-0. But we are going to reply. Madueke finding Gyökeres to find Nkunku to find Nicholas Jackson to make it 2-1 at the back stick. And then Levi Colville to the left-hand side finds Badiashile into Nkunku. A back heel into Eze. And a goal from Gyökeres makes it mean that we need a replay in the 3rd round of the FA Cup, which just makes January even more chaotic. And luckily, we ended up winning this game thanks to number 1, a Rafa Varane own goal, a Bruno Fernandes penalty from United, and then we win on penalties. Even though brand new signing En-Nesyri missed, both Martial and Garnacho missed for United, which means we go into the 4th round by the skin of our teeth. Luckily here we got quite a nice draw against Millwall, managed to rest pretty much everyone and absolutely battered them. 32 shots to their 2, 75% possession and a convincing 4-0 victory as we're going into the 5th round. And in the Europa League as well, we faced up against Apoel and Maccabi Haifa and we won both of them games. We become 2nd in the Europa League, 8 games played, 5-1 against Apoel, Austria Vienna, Fenerbahce, Hibernian and Braga, drew to Losk, Atlanta and Dynamo with 0 losses. One of the only teams with 0 losses as well, which is great to see. So it means we're going straight into the round of 16 of that as well. An absolute chaotic January and December, so sorry it's been a bit all over the place, but we can now fire through to the end of the season and see how many of these trophies we could potentially lift. And well, that's quite a good result to kick things off in February. An 8-1 victory against Wolves. Palmer, Nkunku brace, and Giza brace, and Enyasiri with a hat-trick, and a missed penalty from Nkunku as well, potentially getting him a hat-trick. The new signing scoring 5 goals overall, just showing the absolute necessity for a little bit of rotation. And the most weird thing, Jose Sa grabbed a 7.1 average rating, conceding 8 goals. Sadly though, away from home, we lost 3-1 to Bournemouth. I'm not quite sure what happens after you win 8-1. How do you lose to Bournemouth away from home? Simply no idea. And up next was Aston Villa as well, a game that was going to be difficult, but this was actually the catalyst of a fantastic run of form. Enzo Fernandez from the edge of the box making things 1-0. For Reece James puts it into Nicholas Jackson. He lets it go, and Enzo is there for 2-0. For Reece James finds Fofana. Fofana drives on the right-hand side, finds Nick Jackson to find Enzo, and Gyökeres is there for 3. We then beat West Ham 2-0 away from home. Crystal Palace 3-0 thanks to a brace from Caicedo and another goal for Benoit Badiashile. A 3-1 away at Leicester. And finishing things off with a 1-0 victory against Newcastle in the Premier League. But a month and a half prior to this, we had our Carabao Cup final, and that was also up against Newcastle. And it was our star man, Cole Palmer, who got us off to a fantastic start in this one, somehow finishing off a move he started from right wing, finds Lavia a great ball through, and he's there to make it 1-0. Mudryk then finds Lavia yet again in that DM role. He drives into the middle, Tonali challenges, it falls to Malo Gusto, who batters it home from 30 yards to make it 2-0, and the Newcastle are going to grab a goal back with Tonali driving through, puts it past Mamardashvili, but that was all she wrote, and a 2-1 victory, and our first trophy as Chelsea manager is the Carabao Cup. The first one you can win, and we've gone ahead and won it. And in the quarter-final, after sneaking past Manchester United in the 3rd round, we got another quite nice draw against Swansea, beating them 4-1 in the 5th round. In the quarter-final, we were drawn up against Wickham, and we beat them 4-2 as well. No one's really that surprised about that one. As we head into the semi-finals, we are facing Aston Villa. Man City have got Leeds, so certainly a few decent ties in there. Most likely, if we do beat Villa, it's going to be City in the final of that one at the end of the season. And when in the Europa League, we were drawn up against Roma in the round of 16. And El Shaarawy got them after 1-0 leaders in 20 minutes. And away from home, they won 2-0. So we had to bring things back to Stamford Bridge and see if we can somehow scrape past if we were to try and win the Europa League. And Nkunku got us a goal back. And it just shows in this game in particular the necessity of having the rotation in midfield, as Ambo and Giza makes things 2-0 and back on level terms in the tie. And he's actually going to grab a second, and we are going to win 3-2 thanks to him being in the team, making such a big difference in midfield. This game was absolutely outstanding. A 2.24 XG, 16 shots. We played in the aggressive attacking system in this one because 2 goals down, we had to absolutely send it. And that's what we've done. And a dominating victory means we're into the quarterfinals. And the quarterfinal first leg ended in a 0-0 draw away from home. But at home, a convincing 2-0 victory means we're going into the semi-finals, and that was going to be played up against Fenerbahce. Played against Jose Mourinho yet again. Obviously, we beat them 5-2 last time out in the league phase, but that's all coming in the month of May. Let's get involved to the Premier League in April and see if we can make a real stride for top 4. Well, that's certainly not going to help. A 3-3 draw against Southampton. Before then playing against the starting Premier League sort of challengers in West Ham United. And Nkunku got us 1-0 up in 8 minutes. It was actually a very difficult game. We did make it 2-0 in 19 thanks to a goal from Victor Gyökeres. But West Ham were not going to just roll over and let us grab the 3 points. A free or corner from Ward-Prowse whipped in and eventually put home by Dominico Berardi. We managed to win 2-1, but a very tough game against a very strong West Ham side. Before drawing yet again against Brighton. and sneaking past Everton with a 2-0 victory thanks to a brace from Berriese, and we were staying in Merseyside because next up was Liverpool. And it was a 1-0 victory thanks to last season's hero Cole Palmer. He has been fantastic this season and also an absolute star player. He is absolutely superb, and as you can see from his stats, he is growing very, very nicely as well. Currently rated not that highly, but in the match engine, a 7 average rating, 10 goals, 9 assists in 39 games. It's not quite as good as what he's done in real life, of course, but that's pretty hard to emulate. He has been simply fantastic. By the end of the season, we'll surely have 10 goals and 10 assists as well. In terms of the Premier League campaign, things are going well. We are now back into the top 4. Still got a game in hand on Manchester United as well to potentially go up into second in the league, which would be absolutely fantastic. And we are 9 points off Manchester City. They're probably going to win the league yet again. They're actually quite good, as they are in real life. But we are, doing better than Aston Villa, Arsenal, West Ham, Spurs. Liverpool have fallen off without Jurgen Klopp. Who have they got in charge? Mark Bridge-Wilkinson. I think that says enough, to be honest. Not really done well since Klopp. Let's get involved to the final bit of this season, the dreaded month of May. And we started off with a 1-0 victory against Arsenal thanks to another goal from Badiashile, a 4-1 against Nottingham Forest, a 4-0 against Ipswich, and in the final game of the season to secure second place in the Premier League, a 2-0 victory against Manchester United. A penalty from Cole Palmer before Nicholas Jackson went straight to the right hand side, found brand new January signing Enyasiri in the box to make it 2-0, and a very good victory and a very good Premier League season as well, finishing just 3 points away from the Premier League title, but 5 points clear of Aston Villa and way clear of not being in the Champions League. I am absolutely buzzing with how the season has gone in terms of the Premier League. The consistency we showed once switching the tactic was fantastic. As you can see here from the schedule, after that loss against Spurs, there was just one more loss from the season, a 3-3 draw against Southampton, a 1-1 against Brighton. The rest, all victories, and the 3 tactics working in conjunction were fantastic. So as mentioned, you need to get your hands on them on Patreon. They're absolutely fantastic. Can we cap the season off, though? We've won the Carabao Cup. Can we win the FA Cup or the Europa League? In the Europa League, this game against Fenerbahce was actually quite difficult. It was a 2-legged affair in which we lost 1-0 in the first leg and won 4-3 in the away leg and then won on penalties, which was absolutely ridiculous. Reece James missed his penalty, they missed 2. Then we go through into the final, and it's up against Borussia Dortmund. Last season's Champions League finalists in the Europa League final. Back-to-back finals. Are they going to lift a trophy? Not if Berriese keeps being cheeky like that. A wonderful little chip to make it 1-0. Sabitzer then fires it into the box. It drops down to Nemessia, who finds Adeyemi to make things 1-1. We're going to make it 2-1 after a great bit of play. Eze finding Gyökeres driving through on goal, and a great finish past Gregor Kobel. This game really is a ding-dong battle, as it's going to be 2-2. A mistake from Anguissa in the middle, a great ball off top from Emre Can, and Sebastian Haller makes it 2-2. And the game goes to the extra time after that. Badiashile finds Nicholas Jackson, a ball to Enyasiri. Surely that's it. A 3-2 victory. Of course not. Of course, in the 120th minute, Bino Gittins finds Sadi Ozcan to find Giovanni Reina to make it 3-3. And we're going to be going to penalties. But Sebastian Haller misses the first penalty, and that pretty much set the tone for the rest of them. The coldest man in the building, Mr. Palmer, makes it 1-0. Ben Sabani makes it 1-0 before Nicholas Jackson makes it 2-1. And Emre Can missed the next, which all but secured our Europa League title thanks to a goal from Reece James. Reina scored from there. We scored the final penalty. Eventually, we're going to get to the point where we lift the Europa League, and Chelsea have won the Carabao Cup and the Europa League and come second in the Premier League. Simply fantastic. Chelsea fans, if you got Maresca, you're absolutely buzzing. Now, what about the FA Cup? We won the semi-final against Aston Villa 1-0 thanks to a fantastic finish from Nicholas Jackson, setting up a final against Manchester City. And we would beat them once this season already thanks to a 2-0 victory away from home. Could we grab a 2-0 victory here at Wembley? Well, we're going to make it 1-0 thanks to that man, Nicholas Jackson, having his shooting boots on yet again. Really in that advanced forward position, dragging the defence out, making it 2-0 from a header at the back stick after a ball from Gusto. And it took City to the 95th minute to grab a goal back. Messi finding Bernardo Silva. Haaland scores. They score. It's 2-1. But we have won the game. And sorry, I'm completely taken aback. I didn't realise they'd signed Lionel Messi. I didn't realise he was coming to England. 7 goals and 4 assists in 15 games. We were only 3 points off this team in the Premier League. I think that's a very good season, given we've just, come 3 points away from a Lionel Messi Manchester City. But overall, a fantastic season, a fantastic tactic we've built as well. The 3 of them we've built. Nkunku, 22 goals, 14 assists was fantastic. Victor Gyökeres, very successful as well, 19 and 5. Palmer, 12 and 9. Enyasiri, 9 starts, 6 off the bench, 10 goals, was a great signing. Madueke, 8 and 10 was also great. Ebere Eze, 7 and 13, a 7.13. Nicholas Jackson, to be fair to him, also quite good. Mudryk, fairly average. Certainly someone I think Chelsea might be looking to move away from in the next couple of years if he doesn't kick on. Caicedo, great in DM, and Gieser, a great signing for 17 million in January as well. Malo Gusto is a great backup right back to Reece James, who was injured a fair bit, but when he did play, he was brilliant. Adebayo was good, but didn't play too much. 20 starts overall. Levi Colville, absolutely fantastic as a centre-back or inverted fullback. Both of them absolutely brilliant. But overall, these 3 tactics are fantastic. Make sure you get your hands on them over on the Patreon down below. Thank you so much for watching the video. As always, we'll be back this week with another one-season rebuild with Manchester United at the end of the week. So make sure you're subscribing and keeping your eyes peeled for that one. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.